Hello and welcome to Gardening with Ben's award-winning podcast, as voted by Grow Your Own magazine and by my followers and listeners. So if you're new to the podcast, make sure you click that subscribe button to stay up to date with all our podcasts, listen back to all our previous episodes, sit back, grab a brew and let's enjoy today's episode. Hey everyone and welcome to Gardening with Ben. It's finally the weekend. Toss off them work clothes, put on them gardening clothes and get out in them gardens, because that is what I'm definitely going to be doing this weekend. I'm going to be making the most of this weekend. Hopefully it will stay good weather, but if it doesn't, you know what it means. It means that I'm going to be stuck inside my shed sorting out all the bindweed, which I have got issues with at the moment. If you saw what my Instagram reel was the other day, you will see how bad the bindweed actually is in my shed. It is absolutely not good. Not good at all. That was a long silent pause. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, it is absolutely shocking. We have got so much to do in my shed this year. I've had my shed up now for possibly around 6 years, I think it is. It's actually my first video on my YouTube channel, the building of my shed, what I've got now, because before it used to be, when I started off my plot, I started it off with a greenhouse I was given by the only surviving allotment holder, what was on the site at the time. Out of 36 plots, he kept that one site going by himself. And he let me have his greenhouse, but obviously being 6'5", it was hard in the greenhouse, and as the years progressed I needed a bigger space, so I built an extension onto the greenhouse, just like a little extra bit on the back of it, so you could walk through the greenhouse into the shed bit. And then it got bigger and bigger and bigger, and the greenhouse came down and it was a nice L-shaped shed type thing. I got rid of the greenhouse because I didn't like the glass on the plot and a couple of panes had smashed, so I got rid of that. And then I decided I've settled on this plot, I'm going to invest and I'm going to build a brand new shed. So I think I spent about £300 on wooden perspex, and it's absolutely fantastic now. It's standing strong, all the plastic's still in good condition, and it's not falling over. It's going to survive, so I'm really pleased with how it's turned out. But there's quite a lot of improvements in there what need doing now. The shelving needs redoing, the floor needs clearing and digging over, and if I have time I'm going to make it even bigger. The thing is, I made it bigger 2 years ago, and I didn't really make full potential of my shed last year, because like I said, I didn't have much time this year gardening, so I didn't grow anything inside. All I used it for was for my seeds, but I extended it to have a area to grow melons in, and yeah, it did really well. I didn't get no melons that year, unfortunately, but I extended it, and I've still got a gap at the front of the shed, like in between the shed and the polytunnel. So I'm hoping to extend it so that the polytunnel joins onto the shed, so it will hopefully produce lots of heat from the polytunnel as well to go into the shed, so it'll work as a big system really to get it all, the shed and the greenhouse, really warm. So that's the plan anyway. And I'm also looking at making a little door from the shed onto my neighbour's plot so that he can make use of the shed as well, to start some seeds off, because he said he wanted to. So and I get on really well with my neighbour, so it'll be good, and obviously he can help water my seeds as well. Shh, don't tell him that's the plan. Hopefully he's not listening to this. He does follow me on certain stuff, but hopefully he's not listening to the podcast. So yeah, I've got a busy winter ahead. So today's subject, we're going to be talking a bit about what you can do to make your polytunnel warmer, because as it's getting colder, you don't always have heaters down at the plot to keep the polytunnel warm, and there's natural ways that you can do stuff just to add that extra temperature, to bring that bit of warmth into the polytunnel itself without having to use the actual heaters, the greenhouse heaters. You can also obviously use some of these tips as well for in your greenhouse as well, if you're not wanting to get a paraffin heater yourself. So the first one is to get some fleece. Have a look around, see if anybody's got any cheap fleece that they've got lying around in sheds, and use this around the edges of the polytunnel and put it over the plants to provide an extra layer of warmth at night. Make sure you remove it in the daytime though, as the plants need the light and ventilation. You could always add a layer of bubble wrap in your polytunnel and insulate it more. Everybody gets free bubble wrap in all the parcels and stuff like that, especially in like Amazon parcels. People are wanting to get rid of stuff like that, so ask around if they've got any bubble wrap, just to add that extra layer of warmth in the greenhouse or in the polytunnel to keep it that bit warmer. Then this is a new one that I've heard. It's to get some piles of stones and put them in the corners of the polytunnel. It suggests around about 36 kilograms. These need to be medium to large size stones, and what they'll do in the daylight, in the day, they will absorb the heat. Then at night they will release the heat what's trapped in the stones, keeping the polytunnel that couple of degrees warmer. So it all adds to keeping that polytunnel a bit warmer and producing a bit more warmth. So if you're thinking it could be like 0 degrees at night, adding them stones in will make it 2 degrees. It'll just stop it from being that bit colder in there. And also there's quite a few garden centres that sell off all these mini greenhouses at the end of the year. They're trying to empty the shelves and getting rid of them all and all that. I don't really recommend these mini greenhouses that much for growing stuff outside, because they do blow away if you don't really support them in and really screw them into the ground onto like breeze blocks or paving slabs and stuff like that. So if you've got one of these mini greenhouses, put it inside your polytunnel and it'll work as an extra greenhouse inside the polytunnel, so you can put them over the plants, and it's just another way to keep things that bit warmer and to protect them away from the frost, because you don't want to lose all your plants what you've grown from the frost, especially when you put so much time and effort in. I'm looking at moving my geraniums inside in the polytunnel and in the greenhouse, so I need to look at ways of keeping them geraniums nice and warm but still get ventilation in the daytime to protect them, and hopefully then I can replant them next year back in the garden, and hopefully they'll be bigger and better than ever. Another tip is water. Water can work as a heat source. What you need to do is, if you've got any water barrels, old wheelie bins that haven't got cracks in them, fill them up with water, and what they'll do is work like the stones did. They'll absorb all the heat in the daytime from the sun, and then at night they'll release it back into the polytunnel, keeping it warmer. And obviously water's free if you've got a tap down on your allotment site or in the garden, not if you're on a water meter, mind you, but if you can get all the water in barrels and stuff like that in the corners of your greenhouse, it will keep it that bit warmer inside the polytunnel. So that's a really good one to try actually. It might be worth off me trying that one as well this year. And then if you want to, invest in a rabbit hutch. Yes, you heard it, invest in a rabbit hutch, or get one off Facebook Marketplace or something like that. And what you could do is get yourself a rabbit inside in the polytunnel and feed it all your leftover lettuce and carrots and stuff like that, and the heat from the rabbit will generate at night and keep the polytunnel warmer. Plus, here's a bonus, it'll eat all your weeds for you as well. So yeah, why not get a rabbit down on your allotment if you allow them, and it will keep your polytunnel or greenhouse warm at night. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed them facts. It certainly gets me learning stuff as well doing these podcasts, because obviously I'm reading up on stuff and I'm learning so much from it. Like before, all I'd do is just go down to the allotment and do a bit of gardening and stuff like that. But now I'm really looking into stuff and trying to find you all the tips and advice that I can share with you. So I hope you found this episode useful. It's a really good, some really good tips there for you. I'll have to start charging for them. No. But yeah, I hope you find them useful. Please do click that subscribe button. Share them on your Instagram stories. One of my friends shared one the other day, and it got me a load more listeners, so please do keep sharing them. And I hope you do have a good Saturday. Hopefully there'll be a podcast tomorrow morning on Sunday, and you may even get a bonus episode Sunday night, so watch this space. Shh. So yeah, keep listening, keep gardening, keep smiling, and enjoy the weekend, everybody. So thank you for listening to today's episode of Gardening with Ben. We hope that you've enjoyed this episode. Remember to do click that subscribe button to stay up to date with all our podcasts. Feel free to share them on your Instagram stories so that it spreads the word about my podcast and we get lots more listeners. Feel free to check out my social media sites, Facebook and Instagram as well, Gardening with Ben, and also my YouTube channel, to stay up to date with all my handy videos, how-to videos, and sharing my tips and advice. And feel free to check the link as well in the description for my Gardening with Ben t-shirts. Lots of funny gardening design t-shirts in there for you to purchase at great prices too. So thanks again, and as always, remember, keep smiling and keep gardening.